Sweet. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. If my voice sounds crazy, I'm like coming down with something, so I'm so sorry.
Oh, no. Oops. All right. Got the right one in there. Cool. Let me put it in the Discord. Hello, Melia.
Hey, girl, hey. You're not late.
Oops, what's happening? My phone. My watch keeps buzzing.
I had to take mine off.
Okay. Hello, Nas, Melia, and Jeff. We should be going on everything. So this is our fellow Torque ambassador, Bree. Do you go by Bree or Briana, or does it matter?
Whatever is more comfortable for you, but I like Briana.
Okay, cool. So this is Bree, our lovely Torque ambassador. She is a Java developer, and she will tell you more about herself.
Okay. So, hey y'all. My name is Briana. I am a senior engineer currently at Citi. I am currently doing backend, but I've done everything from front end, full stack, education, a little here and there. I love outreach and getting to know the community, and being part of Torque has been awesome for me. So glad to be here.
Yay.
We hate Pizza
For, yeah.
Pal.
I know. I was like, oh yeah, we grabbed pizza.
Mm.
People are deciding where to watch from.
Definitely.
All right, so I have some questions, but if you want to go off on any tangents and tell your own stories, please feel free. So starting just with tech in general, how did you become interested? Did you go like the CS path, or are you a career switcher? Like what's your story?
Yeah, so I'm what they're calling now a classically trained engineer, I guess. So I got my bachelor's of science in computer science at UT Austin. So hook 'em horns. If you have any Longhorns here. And I've, as soon as I got my degree, I started software engineering from the very beginning. So that's all I've known.
That's awesome. The traditional route. I feel like we do not have all that many traditional folks in the community. So it's like a unique story.
I know. Yeah. I didn't realize when I got into tech how many people like took the non-traditional path into tech and how many different paths there are. So like I think that's been one of the coolest things about joining Torque and like just being involved in the tech community in general. Just learning how many like different paths there are in everybody's story. Super inspirational.
Yes, totally. And side note, I purposely wore this shirt today since the speakers were announced. I know, and I feel like there are a lot of Torkers in the mix.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I saw a lot of names that I recognized on that list. And even more exciting for me is I saw some names that were people who I met last year who were just like kind of anxious about speaking, and seeing that they like took the dive and went for it and will be there is just super exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was excited when I saw Linda on the list as well. I didn't know she was applying. And I think Curleen. She's in Torque. She's in 100 Devs. Yeah,
that was one
really
of those
cool to see
shockers
her
for
on there
me. I'm
too.
super excited to see her speak.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. So I asked you the basic question, and I guess whether it involves being a woman in tech or not, what are your I don't know, what are your greatest challenges, whether it comes to work or anything work related? I know I feel like we kind of discussed some things whenever we were at DevOps days together.
Yeah.
But yeah, like anything you want to touch on in that regard.
Definitely, I feel like trusting myself has been one of my biggest hurdles in my career. I think people often talk about imposter syndrome. Even though I took the traditional path, right? Like I had formal education in CS, I still was like, maybe I'm not the right person for the job. Maybe I'm not smart, and maybe I can't do this. And even though I've, consistently shown myself that I can overcome challenges, every time I get a new one, there's still that voice in my head that's like, but maybe you can't though, so I think that, and then giving myself the grace to admit where I can fall short and where I need help. I think those are two big hurdles that I've encountered. As being a woman in a male dominated industry, there's a lot of, pressure to make sure that when you speak up, you know what you're talking about and you're right. And, you kind of have to have your defenses lined up already. So that I think has been something that I wasn't super prepared for getting into industry. It's been a little bit of a hurdle.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I started asking Claude what any potential like Q&A for like my talks could be just so I'm like prepared.
Right. No, definitely you have to think about like all your edge cases, right? Like before you start. So I
Yeah.
get that.
Um um what is something that helps you kind of get over that hurdle? Cuz I know you mentioned, getting it's like it pops up, but like what helps you kind of like do you have a support system? I don't know, a ritual, something you do that helps you?
Yeah, a few different things. So yes, support system, that has been something that I've been very intentional about, just pouring into and building this past couple years. And the more I build it, the more I rely on it, if that makes sense. So like now, if you would have asked me this question a couple years ago, I would have said, oh, I go take a walk and listen to music. And then, I'll just give myself a little pep talk and then I'll be back to it. But now I have people around me who have seen me work, who have seen my journey, and who can really remind me who I am, right? And so in those moments where I doubt myself, I do lean on my support system to kind of give me the boost that I need, you know.
That's
But
awesome.
another thing I would say is I have a evidence journal,
Is that like a brag journal?
exactly, a brag journal. So, I keep documentation of all of my wins. And so whenever I'm kind of feeling a little doubtful, can just open that up and remind myself of all the great things I've done so far.
Is that like a physical journal or is it like a note like in your notes app or something?
It's a little bit of everywhere. Not
Okay.
gonna lie,
Yeah,
but
cuz
yeah.
cuz I have it in my notes app, but I think I want to transfer it into like I want to be able to hold it.
We'll have a separate chat, but there's this thing called a passion planner, which is just,
Mm,
oh my gosh, it's everything. So yeah, we'll talk about that. But I
yeah,
definitely do a couple analog and digital, I guess, evidence.
awesome. Um, yeah, I have a friend that sells planners, so I am interested in hearing about the passion planner. I mean, she sells planners that I buy. That's what I meant to
Okay, good, good, good. I was
say.
like, "Oh, don't let me get you into trouble."
I know. I have one already, but yeah. Um, and what I'm still trying to like learn how to get my questions to flow. uh,
We'll figure it
Um,
out together.
yeah, like I don't know, as smoothly as possible. So we talked about imposter syndrome and having a brag journal. And I love that because I feel like I've heard that a couple times just recently. Um, so what does a what does a bad day look like for you? And like how do you recover? How do you use your that support system that you mentioned?
Ooh.
Or is that when you open up your brag journal?
Yeah, so I guess, like, for me, as far as my career is concerned, generally a bad day is when I don't meet my expectations, right? Like, let's say a project's past deadline and your manager's like, "Hey, what's going on here?" Like, what's really happening? And, um, that I have a lot of pride in the quality of my work, right? So for me, whenever I'm not able to reach my own goals or, what I committed to, it's just disappointing, right? And in those moments, I do face self-doubt. So what that would look like for me is, first off, taking a breath, stepping back, and like just trying to figure out how I feel first. Like, what's the root cause of like the emotion I'm feeling right now? Because it's probably some form of like fear. Like, usually bad days are formed from some kind of fear, right? Masking as maybe anger, sadness, whatever. So what is it that I'm really afraid of? I'm afraid of disappointing myself. Okay, so you find the root cause, and I know now that I'm feeling disappointed. So what do? I call people who I know are going to encourage me. You kind of have to have different friends for different things, right? Not everybody is going to be able to be your therapist, but definitely those couple friends that you have that are in your corner. Just give them a call and say, hey, like I'm just feeling kind of down today. Like, could you give me a little pep talk, or could you like just remind me of something about me that like I don't know inspires you, something like that. I don't know. Don't ask me, ask ChatGPT. But it's that's something that I've found to do. Or I'll just, like I said, open up kind of the previous things that I've done, or even talk to somebody who I've worked on something similar with before and ask like, what they think, what their perspective is. Because sometimes you are totally valid and like, there's actually nothing wrong, like just life happens. And then other times, you can use the feedback to grow. So usually I just try to take my time when it comes to bad days. And I remember that, when the day's not over till it's over, and it can always be remembered for something else until you're done. So I try to be intentional about changing that.
Yeah, I really like that. Try not what you just said about like the day's not over till it's done. Try
Mhm.
to remember it like, or I guess change how you remember it.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, it's so easy to be like, so that's why I go to the gym in the wee hours of the morning, because if I try to go in the afternoon, I'm just like, I'm mad about this. I don't want to go. Like I'm too tired, or
Right.
and you're right. Like the day's not over till it's done. You can flip around how you feel about it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just try to be optimistic. Like there's always the potential for my day to be better than it is. And so what can I do to make that happen?
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, and kind of along those lines of like improving your day, trying to get out of the imposter syndrome loop. Have you ever shrunk yourself to fit somewhere that just wasn't for you? And what made you stop, or like, realize that that's not where you need to be or you want to be?
Yeah. I think many of us, I think just working in corporate, a lot of the times you'll end up shrinking yourself, right, when you go to work. And any job, really, not even just that. But yeah, absolutely. And what I've done about that was getting to know myself better and learn what makes me happy and what makes me me, and what parts of myself am I actually missing when I make myself smaller, and how can I pour into those parts of myself outside of work. That's generally what I do, because my motto is you have to work just as hard as you play and play just as hard as you rest to be fulfilled, and you have to rest just as hard as you work, right? So if your work life is you just pouring your cup out consistently and it's not pouring into you, that's what's happening when you're in a space where you have to shrink yourself to feel like you belong. You're pouring out of yourself. You have to fulfill yourself in the other avenues. So whether that's self-care for rest, whether that's going to get your hair done or getting a haircut or, new tattoo, whatever. I don't know what people do. But stuff like that. If that's your rest, cool. And then get a hobby. I just recently enrolled my husband and I in an adults kickball team for fun, because I know like I'm competitive and I want something that I can do that lets me be active, and it's just fun to do, right? So being in situations where I feel like I am maybe unfulfilled or in a position that's not good for me, you have to recognize it first, notice the signs in your body, and how it feels if you're checking in with yourself in the morning and you're like, oh, I have to go to work again. and every day that's how you feel, that might be a sign that you might need to reevaluate your situation. So, with that being said, if you're in that kind of role and you can't move today, do something else outside to supplement your fulfillment and to do something that's just for you, not for anybody else. It
Totally.
helps.
Um, yeah, that's how I got into roller derby. I realized I needed to like release some aggression that I had at work or in my
Yes.
mind at work.
Oh my gosh, because how many times have somebody needed to get told something about themselves, but you have to be quiet, you have to be nice. I'm like, okay, yeah, you gotta go get it out somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, totally. What's an opportunity that you almost talked yourself out of?
Woo! Uh, many of them. Can I say every one of them? No, I'm just kidding. But, okay, for instance, speaking at CYC. Yeah, let's say that. I almost talked
Yeah.
myself out of doing that.
Didn't you
Um,
almost miss the deadline or something?
yeah, I did because I kept putting it off. I was like, no, 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 it's fine. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. But in the back of my mind, there's just this doubt, like, Brianna, you know, in front of people, are you sure about that? Like, but yeah, I mean, and this is the thing when I say, when you're feeling doubt, go into your community, because I was feeling doubtful about myself. Then I went to DevOps days and I saw you and we had our talk. And you gave me all of the encouragement and reinforcement that I needed, or reassurance that I needed to just go ahead and submit. And yeah,
Yay.
thank you for
That's
that.
awesome. And I think your picture was up there before, like, the big drop yesterday, I think even.
Oh, well,
I
that's
think so.
just
I don't know. I think so. I don't know.
that's awesome.
Yeah. No, it was hilarious. There were, like, 2 or 3 other people that I well, no, I knew Marino, but, like, that had Danny as their photo with their name on it.
That's hilarious. Gosh,
Yes, Jason was on there from the beginning as well.
iconic, of course.
Um,
Mhm.
oops. Um, okay, so I've talked a lot about imposter syndrome and everything. What is, something that you're proud of? Let's talk about, things that you're already happy about and not having to, like, fight
Yes.
for.
There are many things that I'm proud of. The first being getting my degree. Like, I'm just gonna say that. That was a really hard experience, and it proved to me I can do hard things. And I've really leaned on that in every battle that I've taken since then. But I'm very proud of myself for trusting myself to teach this past semester. I just finished teaching my first semester of college engineering, and I taught my students how to build apps and deploy them like from scratch. And I was super nervous, of course, because if you haven't taught before, it's a lot of responsibility to make sure your students are good. But I they really blew me away at the end of the semester, so I'm super proud about that.
That's awesome. What, age group or what year
Yeah,
of
so they
school
were
were
kind of
they?
distributed. Probably most I would say were freshmen and sophomores. Mhm.
Cool, yeah. I'd say that's pretty close to middle school. I'm just thinking back to, like, freshman guys.
Oh my gosh,
Kidding.
yeah. Well, I think what helps is that at least in university they have to pay. So, you
Oh,
know,
yeah,
you
mhm.
have some motivation to really show up.
Yeah, that's true. That's awesome. Um, what got you into teaching? I know that you mentioned at the beginning and in your bios, and I know a little bit about you to where you really like being part of communities and helping people. So what kind of got you into what sorry, I think I always end up going this way if someone has any teaching in their life because of my background. But yeah, what got you headed that way?
Yeah, so, I've always been a teacher, let's say. Like, I've always like, even when I was in school, I would always, try to help my teammate I mean, not my classmates, understand, like, if they were falling behind in class or, like, re-explain, just what we were learning. And, when I went through university, I had a really, really tough time. Like, I was I was doubting myself at every turn, and I went from feeling super smart in high school to feeling like I was the dumbest person in the room, didn't know anything, like, horrible. So I don't know. I just wait, sorry, I got distracted. Could you
No, you're good.
remind me
It's yeah,
why did
it's
I get into
hard.
teaching? Yes, so I was just having such a hard time, and I was like, if I can take anything that I've learned and use it to help somebody else, not struggle in the future, to have a better time or to feel more like they belong in the field, I'm going to do that. And I also wanted to show the younger, like the children, that you don't have to, like, at least in my communities, that you don't have to be a musician or an athlete to be successful. And there's definitely spaces here where you can use your intelligence and your curiosity to go very far. So I wanted to, be someone that people could relate to, that really wants to help them, move forward.
Totally. And I guess before the teaching journey, Ron
Mhm.
wants to know what made you want to become an engineer?
What made me want to become an engineer? Well, I've always been interested in technology from the very beginning. I think my godbrother, when I was like 7 or something, gave me a PS1, and that was it. Like I was a gamer. Like I was playing video games all the time, and then my Xbox broke one day. I got the red ring, if y'all know what that is, and that was horrible. And I could not deal. So I completely, tore it down, broke it apart, and then put it back together and I fixed it.
Nice.
And that was like, whoa. Like I took something that didn't work and I made it work. Like that's insane. And I got into high school and I was like, what is the closest thing that I can do that's like what I just did with that? Like and that was engineering. So, luckily, my high school offered some tracks that you could do to prepare for college. So you could do STEM, like fine arts, health sciences, those type of things. So I did STEM, and it didn't take a software engineering class until my senior year. And I was actually out. I was doing like breadboarding, AutoCAD, like mechanical engineering type of stuff, and it really wasn't scratching the same itch for me. But I was like, oh, it's cool, I guess. But then my
Wow.
senior year, took computer science, and I loved it. And my teacher at the time became like a second mom to me. She was an immigrant from Nigeria who got worked in the industry, and then she decided to go into academia. And she told me that I was going to go to UT, study computer science, and do great things. And I doubted her at the time because I was like 16. I was like, okay, lady, like, sure, I'm gonna go to class. But that's exactly what happened. I did go to the school. I chose UT because it was number 2 in the nation at the time, I believe, for computer science for public schools. So I was like, okay, I can
Nice.
go there. And while there, I met people that did so many different career paths. So like just there's so much opportunity I saw in this space, and that's always inspired me to do more.
I am very sorry.
No, 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 no need to be sorry at all.
Summer
Yeah.
break, yay. Yeah, no, that is amazing. I love when teachers are supportive like that.
We need
And
our
what
teachers.
what led what made you choose the back end? Because I feel like so many people, you know, they'll either do full stack or I know a lot of transitioners kind of go the front end first. Like what made you go Java back end? Or like what journey led you there?
Honestly, it's what I started with first. I started with backend. Java is my first language. So it kind of just feels like home to me. I did do a small stint where I was doing front end and full stack for a couple years. And I don't know, like there's the joke about centering a div, but that was not a joke to me. Like it was like I had or like the sites look good, but it was so stressful and it just doesn't make as much sense to me as backend does. I think just because it's so logical and like, there's only a certain number of ways things can work. Like backend just makes sense to me. But UI is just it's a little I don't know.
So have you been doing back end this whole time? Or I know you
uh,
said you tried front end, but was that just for
no,
fun?
so no, when I graduated, I did full stack for about 3 years. And then I transitioned to Java backend at Google. And then even when coming back to City for the past couple years, I've I closed a UI ticket 2 weeks ago. Like I just kind of sprinkle in UI here and there. Yeah, I like to
Awesome.
stay back.
Yeah. So yeah, you're still totally full stack.
A little bit, a little bit.
um, what you know what is your I want because I'm kind of interested. What is your talk going to be about at CYC? Kind of get folks excited to see you.
Um, well, I actually have to see which one got accepted. I haven't opened it. I submitted a couple of them, so I'm like, which one is it? Let's find out together. But
Someone's
yeah,
wondering how you didn't lose your sanity with Java.
who said I didn't do that? I think that it's a rite of passage being an engineer to lose your sanity a couple times. But okay, to answer the CYC question, no errors in CSS. No, there are errors in CSS, but the IDE will never tell you. Okay, sorry, I took that personally. But my my talk at
That's that.
CYC is going to be about the importance of behavior-driven development and testing architecture in distributed systems. Um, that's something that I've been the engineering lead over the past 6 months at my job, leading the testing initiative and building our framework from scratch. So you'll learn a little Cucumber, Java, a little bit of this and that.
Nice. All right. I'm assuming you'll be on the Java track then.
Yes, yes, very much.
Yeah, because I figure well, last year there were 4, but if he has more speakers this year, I'm like, there have to be at least 5.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I just figure since
It's
most of
gonna be
my
nuts.
virtual talks are usually like soft skills and, career navigation, I really wanted to get hands-on and technical for this one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
Oh,
prefer
nice.
the soft skills ones, but this is my only technical one.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
So funny.
I'm so glad that you saw part of it. So I'll have to ask you if you remember anything and what I should change or fix.
Yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
the same one that I'm doing. Um,
Honestly, your reception was so good. I think you're in a really good spot with it.
Thank you. Yeah, that was my final. That was the final one that I was like, oh, I think that I'm happy with this now.
No, just let it, let her cook.
um, so we have a few minutes left. What do you want to share about yourself or I don't know, what did I not touch on that you would like to talk about?
Yeah. Well, I would like to just let it be known that I do often do office hours and coffee chats. There's a link in my LinkedIn bio. You can book time with
Yep,
me.
I'm gonna do that.
But I will be offering like technical coaching sessions as well. If you need help debugging your code or want to build a project and need another pair of eyes on it, I'm happy to do that. If you have questions about your career breaking into industry, also happy to chat. My goal is to help people find their home in tech and to find their space in the industry. So I just wanted to let it be known that you can come to me if you have questions.
That's awesome. Speaking of questions,
Mm.
what is the most costly assumption self-taught devs make?
That you have to have the best of the best in order to start. I would say that a lot of people are like, "Oh no, I need to get my MacBook Pro, like massive 16-inch, like 8 core, like just craziness, like, going to the top of the line for specs or needing to learn like every language and buying every course. Like you're going to run yourself out of money doing that. So just get an in-browser IDE you can use on any browser or on your phone, like, and get on YouTube, like just to do an intro course. Find what languages work best for you that you understand, or what you even want to do first. Like if you honestly, that's the most costly mistake. People don't know what they want to do before they get into tech. So if
Mm,
you don't, because in college you kind of have to choose like, what am I going to do so I can take my classes to focus on that. Whether that's doing backend, whether that's front end, whether that's AI, mobile development, whether it's web, networking, cyber, like you should know which one that you want to do so that you can focus your learning and you'll be, I mean, to me, time is money. So if you're wasting your money, if you're wasting your time, you're wasting that too. And that's expensive. So know what you want to do and then curate your learning to get you there as fast as possible. Also, once you figure out what you want to do, talk to people who already do that so they can tell you how to get into it. So you're not just like spinning your wheels watching, YouTube video after YouTube video.
Yeah, and I think that a big part of joining different communities is that you hear more about what people are doing, and you find out
Right,
about
right.
like the different tracks or the different paths you can take. Like it's not just like full stack, or it's not just like web development.
Exactly.
And then I know that this probably comes up all the time, but just throwing it out there. Thoughts?
Am I worried about AI taking my job? No. But do you know why? Because I adopt AI. And like I think that if you're worried that AI is going to take your job, you should learn the tools. Unfortunately, it's the same thing that happened with the dot-com boom. Everybody had to readjust and learn these new tools, right? Even with Web3 for y'all front end people, y'all had to learn that too. Like when it's a new tool on the block and that's what's replacing the old technologies, you have to be able to pivot and adapt. Unfortunately, what AI means is that the industry is now changing faster than ever, and it's a lot to keep up with, and that's confusing. But what I would say is just to get that confidence, do your market research and talk to the leaders in the industry, or at least watch what they're saying, right? People that you can trust, and see what skills are going to be most in demand. Then learn those. So, or even like what actual concepts are. So if you go to conferences, small plug, you'll learn a lot of what's happening, and you'll be prepared for the next wave.
Yeah, and then Ron was wondering what tools are you using?
What tools am I using? Right now, I'm obsessed with the Warp terminal. And it's legit. It's like it's a terminal, an IDE, a multi-agentic system, like all in one, and even like a file explorer, like kind of crazy. But I love it. You can have multiple conversations per window, and all of your agents can do different stuff at the same time for your app. And you can choose your model that you want to use. So of course, I'm using Claude. But yeah, I think the interface is great, and you can customize it, which I love.
Awesome. I think once again, like if anyone wants to talk to Bree about anything that she's mentioned, um, she's also in our Discord, Bree the
Yeah.
Techie. Yeah, she pops in and out. Yeah. So yeah, definitely find her and add her, because she is a teacher at heart.
I can't help myself. I love it.
Yeah, no, you're awesome. I love all the teachers.
It's
But yeah,
awesome.
if there isn't anything else you want to share, I want to be respectful of your time. If anyone else, if there are no further questions, you got a lot of questions. I like that.
Good. Did we miss any? I feel like there were some I saw, but I didn't.
Oh, I think there was the daily driver, but I
Oh,
wasn't
let's see.
sure. Hang on.
Oh, Linda, good. I'm glad it was helpful. Okay, Ron. So is this like my car, or what do you mean by daily driver? Because, okay, so here's something y'all may not know about me, but I'm very into sports cars and racing. And I used to work in a shop, so, in an auto shop. So
Nice. I didn't know that.
yeah, if it's cars, my daily driver right now is the 2025 BMW i4. Um, it's yeah, silver with a cognac interior. I love it.
That's the one
But
I rode in, right?
yeah. But if it's my daily driver as far as my job is concerned, I really want to make a difference. And I genuinely love creating something from nothing. I think, if you went back 10 years ago and asked, why do I do this? It's because I can create something from nothing. And I think that is such a cool concept and not something that can be replicated in many other industries. Um, so I think that's something very unique to tech, and that will never change. Even with AI, that makes it so many more possibilities available.
Awesome. That's a great way to end it, building something from nothing.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for being on She Ships.
Well, thanks for
We
having
and
me.
getting to know you more since you're one of our community members too. Like, so that's been fun. Um, thanks everyone for joining. Oh, and we have one more question. Hang on.
How do I feel about PHP now having a way to build native apps? I don't have much of a feeling on that because I'm not a PHP dev.
Yeah,
But, sounds
Walter
cool. Tell
just
me
likes to
more.
start mess.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you
great to
so much.
be here,
Thanks
y'all.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on, Bree, because I think this has to upload something. 1 second. All right. Bye everyone.